Oh, wow. Okay, so we're still here at Reefapalooza. Booth's looking good. Paul just pulled his pants up. I don't know if anybody heard that or not. I'll probably have to edit that out after the fact. Hey, Paul, wave at the camera, man. Oh, Paul's talking to a customer. We still got 0 here, so we got to wait for people to join in. There's one. We got one.
Got one.
We got Mohai Winston. Hope I'm saying that correctly, or Mojai. Thanks for joining us. Get that viewer count up a little bit before we get going. In the meantime, you guys get to see the booth here at Reefapalooza in Anaheim, 2019. We'll get started here in a minute. Got some good info for you guys. Somebody was asking earlier about aquascaping, so we can talk about aquascaping. It's great. All these people don't even know that they're on a live stream. They're just walking up to the booth. It's pretty cool. All right, now we got going here. We got Trent in here. We got Robert Miller. Let's kick it over here. Hey guys, Terence here from Neptune Systems with another episode of Let's Talk Reef on the road here at Reefapalooza. Having a great time. I mean, it's winding down. I mean, we're at like 1:45 in the afternoon here, but there's still a good amount of people, as you saw probably on the booth here. We had a bunch of people coming in, looking at the tank, looking at all the gear. But right now, I want to introduce you. I got Gareth again, once again, on the sofa from Real Reef.
Right on.
Welcome again, man. Put her here. Oh man, well we had Gareth here last year, so it might seem like, wow, you're repeating yourself. But
Deja vu with a twist.
Yeah. So we're not going to go over your whole life story again. You know, we don't want to bore certain people with that. But we're going to talk about all aquascaping and rock. How's that?
Absolutely.
Okay. So for some of you guys know, I have a 425 gallon tank. It's all done with Real Reef rock. Pretty much every one of our show tanks, these guys bring in the rock. We aquascape with the rock. And it's just been lots of years of awesomeness from their product. But they've got every time it's some new stuff. So they've got to come here on the sofa. Let's just talk about the new stuff. Show it to us.
A couple of things. We started out with our development of our new...
Oh, hang on one second.
Yes.
Definitely hang on one second. I've been told I should wear a certain hat from a certain individual. So I am now properly adorned with the Real Reef hat. Okay, now, so tell us about the rock.
Our newer development on the branch rock. I think we spoke the last time this was coming. This is our early generation that came out towards the end of last year.
Okay.
The guys have been working, developing the whole time, so it's literally gone from this style.
So, kind of a rewind, right? Back in the early days of your stuff, it was molded directly off of Tonga branch.
Exactly.
Right? So it was like these long, big, kind of thick pieces.
Yep.
So, you know, let's be completely transparent here. What were the problems with that?
The problems were we couldn't keep up with the demand, and we were limited by the amount of shapes and styles that we could make based on the resources that we had. So we had to take a strong look at how we were actually manufacturing the product and see, we had a market there that we needed to make a product for.
Okay.
The first iteration with the new style of making the rock came out with this, where it's fairly 3D, really well received, well accepted by the customers, and we were finally able to make some really good numbers and keep up the demand. But just by our talented crew being the way that they are, they're extremely artistic. We've given them carte blanche to come up with newer styles, newer development.
Okay. So hang on, don't get there yet. Okay. So you have, this came out, is this still for sale or is this now not for sale?
It's still for sale.
So this one's still for sale. And I've mentioned this once before about the rock, and I do get excited about the rock, and I don't do this with a lot of companies, talking about, if I like a product, I go crazy about a product, it's just the way it is. I love using this with the Acropora and mounting them on these little bits on the end and watching them grow out and look like a real coral in your reef.
Yeah.
It is the coolest thing ever to see happen, and my reef wouldn't be as good without it. Unfortunately for me, I'm pretty much loaded with rock now, so I can't change and bring in some of the new stuff. But also there was, the other thing I know when I put mine together, one of the downsides I think you've done something with is where you sneezed on that branch rock and it would break.
It would break, yeah.
Right? And that happens. I mean, you go through development on a product, it's a great product, nothing wrong with it at all. In fact, in some places in my reef, I'd rather have that bigger branch kind of rock. But what did you guys do about that?
We were able to have a lot more control of the consistency of the mix of the during the manufacturing process.
Okay.
So as a result, it's a lot stronger. Every mix is exactly what it needs to be.
Okay. So now it's really strong. I tap it on another piece inside, it's not going to break on me.
I'm never going to claim it's not going to break if you tap on it. It's similar to wild Tonga branch in the respect that may be like an occasional piece break off, but nothing anywhere near how it used to be. It's like way stronger.
So what's these new pieces?
So they developed from more of a 2 low density piece into a much fancier style. We have
that looks completely. See, this looks natural, but not quite perfectly natural. You can kind of tell that looks random.
Yeah.
That looks completely random. Let me see this. So it's got a big, thick base, so you can kind of plant that into some of the base rock that you have, because obviously you guys got big old pieces of base rock, right?
Yeah. Actually, even at the show, just using one of these regular pieces, you
just lock it into the other pieces.
Like simple aquascaping.
It's so amazing. And one of the things too is that when you get an aquarium, like we're all a little bit impatient too, right?
Yeah.
And it takes a while for corals to grow out. It takes a while for things to happen. But at least with this stuff, immediately your tank can look like a coral reef, even if it looks like a dead coral reef, because this is obviously like dead, like there was dead coral, right? Yeah. But it's got coral and algae on it, coral and algae.
And it also takes up a decent amount of space, so you're not looking at
waiting
for coral to grow
waiting for it to grow in. Awesome. And I saw some other like monopora shapes over there too.
Similar principle.
Okay.
You want to wait a few years and grow out a nice Turbinaria cup or a Monopora capricornis.
Right.
With the same principle.
That's really cool.
It's the same material, 100% calcium carbonate. It's gone through the leaching process. We're thinking it's a really good idea to attach some encrusting coral onto here, and you get the same effect.
Yeah, I mean, me and my tank, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount that kind of like this in the tank, so it's got a little bit of a tilt on it, and I'm going to put like 4 or 5, maybe 6 different Sophastria corals on here that are just going to encrust it with the purples and the oranges and the greens and everything, and it's going to look like it's just a natural coral. But in the meantime, it's not going to look like an ugly eyesore of cream-colored rock, right? Awesome, so cool.
And after speaking to a few people in the show this weekend, they'd be like, oh, that would be a really good spot to put a clam or have a collection of anemones, and I can put the anemones around the rock and so they're in one place.
That is a good idea too.
With the clams, we have some more pieces that are more of a low profile, so if you do have a sand base you want to set your clams down onto, clams do not like being set on sand. They really prefer to have a rock base to stick to. They're a lot more susceptible to having bristleworms and other worms.
Oh, I never thought about that. That's true.
Open foot space.
Because I've had that problem before, where like all of a sudden your clam's doing great.
Oh yeah.
And then like from the inside out, it's just like, ugh.
And something came up.
And they need more light too. So a lot of people's tanks, the clams really like a lot of light, right? So they want to get them up anyway, many times for a lot of people.
This way, clams typically once they get set in the tank, you don't really want to move them anyway because you can affect the byssus threads on their feet. So this way, if you happen to want to move them, you can move the whole plate of clams.
Very good idea. Very good idea. All right, so what's next? What's coming next?
Who knows?
Who knows? You know.
I don't know if we have anything
really
new at the moment, but we have developed the Turbinaria cups to be available in a massive size.
What about, like, I know I don't do this because I'm not a big fan of the regular frag plugs, right? And I know you guys have your other little frag plugs, which I've told everybody about before, which are awesome. But most people come to a show like this and they buy regular frags on frag plugs.
Yep.
What about molding that into some of these so that you can just come and drop it in? Eventually it's going to grow and everything else. But
you've also given me a reminder, we do have another one in production which I failed to mention, which is a clam cup. Similar principle as to having the big Turbinaria cup with an individual base, which is designed for a clam to be stuck into.
Okay.
That way you have the same ability
so you
to
can
move
it,
that
and you can glue that or epoxy that somewhere, because epoxy's never permanent anyway. You can always knock the epoxy off, but put it where you want, try it out. Oh, very good, very good.
And that goes hand in hand with the existing frag rocks that we already have. So They're already
Cool.
proving to be very popular.
So 2 weeks we're going to be in Macna.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Can you believe that? It's nuts.
Pack everything up from here, and then
We got to pack everything up from
send
here.
it all to Florida.
We drive back, right? Then we got to unpack it out of our trailer, repack it into a big old crate, and then put that on a truck on Wednesday.
I'm trying to get my stuff out tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're putting it out on Wednesday, and then we fly in on Wednesday next week.
Yep. For another busy week.
So, and you're doing all the rock for us, right?
Yes.
For our tank. We've got a big old tank. We've got a 48 by 48 by 28 high tank that's going to be at the show.
Yeah, we should have 4,000 or 5,000 pounds of rock at the show.
But you better have enough for our tank,
Got
I'm
lots of
telling you. No doubt. All right, so here's the thing. Question from Salty Lou, All Aquatics. Does Real Reef rock coralline look washed out with time like the Carib Sea does, specifically when used in Fowler tanks? Fowler means fish only with live rock, right?
I would
So
say
we don't want to talk about Carib Sea because that's not cool, right? But
with
how
our
good is your
product-
dyes that you use on here?
with our product, it is not designed to be permanent. There's at no point if we ever claim this is a permanent thing.
Right.
The higher intensity the light, the faster you're going to lose some of the color. It is a water-based, organic-based dye. The whole principle is to have color whilst you're coloring up your corallines.
Right.
I mean, fish only with live rock, you may not be trying or able to get that same look.
Well, the thing is, most people don't because they don't really care, right?
Yeah.
But the amount of calcium and alkalinity probably needed, if all you were doing is just wanted to maintain the coralline in that tank, probably isn't that much.
And also the light requirements for a fish only with live rock tank, Fowler tank, not as high intensity as a reef tank necessarily, way less susceptible to any fading.
Yeah, you don't get that strong UV coming out and everything else that's going to do it. So, good question, excellent question. All right, well, I think that's all the questions we got so far on this, but definitely a good show. You enjoyed yourself here?
It's been a busy weekend.
Long travel here, isn't it, for you?
Yeah, it must be like 25 minutes.
Yeah, we're for us it's a lot farther. We don't get any good reef shows up by us, so it's always a long slog to go. But anyway, we're going to probably do one more of these shows here. I want to thank you for stopping by once again, showing everybody the new stuff. If you guys are here at the show, or if you can come by, see what Gareth's got to offer, or see us at Macna, come by, see what the new stuff they might have.
See you guys at Mecca.
All right, man. Take
Appreciate
care.
it. Thanks.
Till the next time, let's talk reef.